In the heart of a snowy valley, nestled away like a hidden gem, lay the small European village of Evergreen. Here, Christmas wasn't just a holiday. It was the most magical time of the year. Imagine twinkling lights adorning every single house, casting a warm, golden glow on the pure white snow. The air was filled with the joyous laughter of children building snowmen and having snowball fights, and the sweet, irresistible scent of fresh-baked cookies wafted from every kitchen window. At the very center of this picturesque village stood a silent, majestic guardian, Grandfather Oak. This was no ordinary tree. It was a giant, centuries-old oak, its branches stretching towards the sky like ancient arms. Every Christmas, the villagers would come together to decorate it. They'd hang beautiful, glowing lanterns, delicate handmade ornaments crafted with love, and sparkling stars that seemed to capture the very essence of the winter sky. Grandfather Oak wasn't just a tree, it was the heart of Evergreen's Christmas spirit. Among the cheerful villagers lived a young boy named Arin. If you could measure Christmas spirit, Arin's would be off the charts. He loved Christmas more than anything in the world. 4 weeks leading up to the big day, he would be a whirlwind of festive activity. He spent countless hours in his cozy home, carefully crafting little decorations from pine cones and ribbons, baking batches of gingerbread cookies shaped like stars and angels, and wrapping small, thoughtful gifts for his neighbors. Arin held a simple, powerful belief that even the smallest acts of kindness could make the Christmas season brighter for everyone. But this year something was different. Just a few days before Christmas, a shadow fell over the valley. A fierce winter storm, the likes of which no one had seen for years, descended upon Evergreen. Snow began to fall, not in gentle flakes, but in a thick, relentless blanket. The wind howled through the narrow streets, a mournful, wailing sound that rattled windows and sent shivers down everyone's spines. The snow piled higher and higher, burying fences, blocking doorways, and making the roads completely impassable. The villagers, who were usually so full of cheer, began to worry. The festival they had all looked forward to seemed to be in jeopardy. Some families found their firewood supplies running low, and the bitter cold began to seep into their homes. Even the mighty Grandfather Oak, their beloved symbol of Christmas, was at risk. Its heavy branches, laden with snow and ice, groaned under the weight, threatening to snap in the gale-force winds. The festive spirit that usually filled the air began to evaporate, replaced by anxiety and frustration. Some villagers started to argue, blaming the terrible weather or even each other for their misfortunes. The unity of Evergreen was starting to crack under the pressure. But Arin, our little champion of Christmas, refused to let the storm win. His heart ached to see the sadness and fear in his neighbor's eyes. He would not let the magic of Christmas be blown away by the wind and buried under the snow. With a determined look on his face, he bundled up in his warmest coat, pulled his hat down tight, and braved the storm. He ran as fast as his legs could carry him through the deep snow, all the way to the village square, right at the foot of the struggling Grandfather Oak. Taking a deep breath of the cold air, he cupped his hands around his mouth and shouted, his voice ringing out with surprising strength against the wind. "Listen, everyone. We can still make Christmas magical. A storm can block our roads, but it can't block our hearts. If we work together, no storm, no matter how strong, can take away our joy." His words, full of hope and courage, cut through the gloom. One by one, villagers poked their heads out of their windows and doors. They saw this small boy, standing alone in the blizzard, his face glowing with unwavering belief, and something inside them shifted. Arin's simple, powerful message had sparked a flame in their hearts. Inspired by his bravery, they began to emerge from their homes, not with faces of despair, but with a new sense of purpose. The transformation was incredible. The children, following Arin's lead, rushed to Grandfather Oak. They carefully brushed the heavy snow from its lower branches and began to decorate it with everything they had. They hung their handmade ornaments, tied colorful ribbons, and carefully placed lanterns that cast a warm, defiant glow against the swirling snow. They worked together, their laughter once again echoing through the square. Meanwhile, the parents and elders organized themselves into teams. Some grabbed shovels and began clearing paths between the houses, creating a network of connection through the deep snow. Others, skilled with tools, went around checking on neighbors, repairing a loose shutter here, a damaged fence there. A group of villagers gathered what food and firewood they could spare and started a delivery service. They brought hot chocolate, warm soup, and fresh-baked cookies to families who were cold and running low on supplies. The air, once filled with arguments, was now filled with calls of, "Do you need anything? And let me help you with that." Everyone shared what they had. A family with extra flour traded with a neighbor who had plenty of eggs. Someone with a surplus of firewood shared it with an elderly couple whose fireplace had gone cold. Small, handmade gifts were exchanged on the newly cleared pathways. The spirit of competition and blame was replaced by a spirit of collaboration and care. No one was left to face the storm alone. Slowly but surely, as the villagers worked hand in hand, the village of Evergreen began to transform. The storm still raged, but inside the village, a different kind of magic was at work. Grandfather Oak, now adorned with dozens of glowing lanterns, stood tall and proud, a beacon of hope in the darkness. Its golden light reflected off the millions of snowflakes, making the entire square sparkle as if it were covered in diamonds. The soft light of the moon broke through the clouds for a moment, bathing the scene in a soft, ethereal glow. As night fell on Christmas Eve, the work was done. Families gathered in the village square, their faces illuminated by the lanterns of Grandfather Oak. They began to sing Christmas carols, their voices rising together in a beautiful harmony that drowned out the sound of the wind. They shared stories, they laughed, they hugged, and they simply enjoyed being together. The worries of the storm, the blocked roads, and the cold seemed to melt away in the warmth of their shared company. Standing there, surrounded by his friends and neighbors, Arin looked up at the glowing tree and the smiling faces, and he realized something truly magical. The real spirit of Christmas wasn't in the perfectly wrapped presents or the elaborate decorations. It was right here, in T's moment. It was in the kindness of sharing a warm drink, the unity of working together to clear a path, and the love that brought them all together to care for one another in a time of need. The storm hadn't ruined Christmas. It had revealed what Christmas was truly all about. From that year onward, the people of Evergreen celebrated Christmas with an even greater sense of joy and meaning. The story of that stormy Christmas Eve, the story of how a small boy's hope united a village, was passed down from generation to generation. It became their favorite story, a reminder of their own strength and the power of their community. And the legend of Evergreen grew. Visitors began to travel from far and wide, not just to see the beautiful village, but to witness the famous glowing Grandfather Oak and to feel the incredible warmth of its community. They came to experience for themselves the real, enduring magic of Christmas, a magic born not from fantasy, but from the simple, powerful truth that kindness, unity, and love can overcome any storm. Thank you so much for watching. If this story warmed your heart, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone you love. Merry Christmas, and may the spirit of Evergreen be with you all.